Hello, good people of YouTube. MountBatten here. Don't click off. I know it's a CV video. It is a CV replay. But trust me, you're going to want to see this one through to the end because this is a really, really close match, a really good match, and it comes down to the absolute wire here at the end. So please stick around for the entirety of this video. While I still have your attention here at the beginning, TSOF is recruiting, which is the clan for the channel. If you want to participate in clans that do competitive things like clan battles and ranked and such, or want a more relaxed clan that's just around to chill out and hang out with the community, we have clans for you. Check out the link in the description down below to the application if that interests you. So anyway, to the toxicity that you're seeing on screen here. I mean, look at this matchmaking, though. Absolutely toxic matchmaking, am I right? Tier 10 CV, 2 subs, 1 destroyer, and a bunch of battleships in one match. I tell you what, matchmaking seems to be on some of that good recently, because it's been absolutely nutty for myself. So what's going on here? So the player we're watching play is a fellow by the name of MrMayhem, or as his username currently is in-game, Airmail4U. He is a resident CV main of TSOF, and he is a pretty darn good one. So it's interesting to see a CV match from a good CV player's perspective, especially considering I have played the Nakhimov quite a bit, given its crazy nature, and it's interesting seeing how he approaches targets and such, and compare it to myself. And if you play the Nakhimov, it's something you can do as well as we go through this. So this is a tier 10 game with, I do believe, it's a straight tier 10 flush on both sides. Yes, it is. No tier 9s, no tier 8, straight up tier 10 match. He's in a division with a fella from SCCC2 and from Orcs. And one of them fellas is in a Blau, the tier 10 American submarine that are currently, that's part of the submarines that are currently back for testing. And they're currently going up against a Audacious, and again, double sub on the other side too. I believe it's a Blau and a 2501 as well. So you get some wonderful early game drops down there on the enemy team. He's already up to 25,800, 26,000 damage already. So the Nakhimov, if you don't know, has some crazy alpha potential. It has this much different attack approach than the other CVs, as the Russian line does. Instead of having multiple squadrons that are part of a flight that attack one at a time, you launch your entire squadron at the enemy at once. There's no separate squadrons. You throw all of your ordnance at once, which leads to some crazy alpha potential, especially if you're a Des Moines that's bound to an island. And by the way, the HUD for CVs is still busted and replaced. He's dropping these drops quite a bit shorter than what you're seeing on screen, because if he did what the HUD actually showed, he wouldn't be able to do that right there and get 4 torps off on that Des Moines, because like most of the Des Moines was in the arming phase of the torpedoes. But anyway, it does that, so you have these incredible heavy attack waves. So like you saw just there, that was only maybe, I think, half of the Nakhimov's torpedoes actually connecting on that Des Moines. The torpedoes, I think if you land all of them, and even with like torpedo protection, you're still going to do like 20 to sometimes 30,000 damage with the torps. These rocket planes you're seeing right now, I believe they did just nerf these. No, actually they didn't. They nerfed the torpedoes and the skip bombers. You throw somewhere along the lines of 60, I think 62, 64 of these rockets, which are very similar to the tiny Tim rockets that the Midway launches, so you can do stuff like this. 13,000 alpha on that Montana. That's only with 10 rockets actually connecting and pinning. It is insane, y'all. So anyway, how's the match going right now? Well, not too well for Mayhem's team. They're down 2 of their 3 cruisers already. They only have 2 capped. Looks like most of the friendly team went up north, where the enemy team did kind of an even split, with half of their team going toward the A cap and half of their team going toward the C cap. Which is interesting, because what mostly happens now at higher tier is that, more often than not, you get what's happening with MrMayhem's team, where most of the team goes toward 1 cap, and like you're seeing right now, you get 3 tier 10 battleships in like a 2 square radius over by the D9, D10 line, it sits like that for most of the match, and one side utterly rolls over the other one. If you're wondering, it does appear that, yes, there is an AFK Yami. Coming up on another Des Moines, getting his rockets lined up, ready to go. And let's see what he does here. And after the machine guns fire, 18,000 damage with 15 rockets hitting and setting a fire. Good God. Yeah, if you're attacking a light-skinned target like the Des Moines light cruiser, superstructure, and a battleship, you're going to absolutely pin the crap out of them with these rockets. I mean, look at, they just chunked that Des Moines down to like 13,000 health. He's trying to repair, but he just ate, I believe, Yami shells to the face. Come on the side with the skip bombers, and yes, these skip bombers do again attack all at once. So every single plane you see here throws one bomb out, lining up on the Des Moines. But you can get screwed by islands like MrMayhem does here. I'm assuming he was going for the one-line drop, saw that the Des Moines got down to 3 digits health, assumed he was going to burn out, went ahead and just dropped the bombs, canceled the run. That way he can conserve as many planes as he can. And the Des Moines does eventually get taken out by the Henri, but the fire did not take him out, but still died. So happy result there either way. So he's going after the Bourgogne next with the rockets, which again makes sense. Bourgogne, like all French battleships, well, most French battleships, absolutely coated in 32 millimeters of armor. No problem for these rockets to pin through that. Get some good damage on. Kazna, the Orcs player in the Balau, has managed to break through the B cap, and it looks like he's either hunting for the enemy Balau, so I guess there's a little hunt for the red Balau going on over here by the B cap, which sub versus sub fighting is absolutely fun. It's one of the funnest things in game that I've found recently. So go after the Bourgogne. He gets, well, I can't see, 9 rockets on target. What was that 10,000 damage? Couldn't see. 9 rockets on target, 9 that pinned, and starts to fire on the Bourgogne as well, up to 93,000 damage, 95,000 damage. 2 minutes short, 3 minutes short of the 10-minute mark. Again, Nakhimov is absolutely crazy. And this is after it's been nerfed a bit. They took a plane away from the Torp and the Skip Bomber squadrons, but they, for some reason, left the insane rocket squadrons alone. So it's also interesting what he does here. So if the HUD's not screwing up, looks like he intentionally left the reticle for the torpedo bombers out wide, which would make sense if you're facing a bow-end target like a Napoli, especially a cruiser that can very nimbly wobble around one way or the other. So you want a kind of a wide spread. That way you have a good chance of hitting the target with the torpedoes. The trick with the Nakhimov torps most of the time is that they get an incredibly narrow channel with the torpedoes, and you want to try and get all those torps to hit your target, because again, like I mentioned earlier, you hit like 26, 28, sometimes even 30k damage with those torps if they all hit the target at once. It's insane. But I guess when you are facing a much more nimble target like a Napoli, you do want to just maximize your chance of actually hitting the thing, which does make sense. So, sit rep, they are around 100 points down right now. 3 cruisers are still dead on the enemy. All 3 cruisers are dead on the friendly team. 2 of the enemy cruisers are down, along with 1 battleship. It appears that they haven't found the AFK Yamato just yet. Speaking of Yamato, he's lining up on this Yamato, drops his skip bombers, and 17,000 damage. 6 of the 7 skip bombers hit and pinned. Started 1 fire on the Yami. Good God, this thing is nuts. And again, this is post-nerf Nakhimov as well. Took him long enough to do it too. So right now, all 3 caps are firmly in the enemy team's hands. Both teams are down 3 ships. Friendly team's down a little over 200 points at this point, and we're about halfway through the match. Isn't going too well. Oh, look, a never-ending stream of sap. I know what's in there. Hello, Forrest Sherman. Goes for the second line drop on the Forrest Sherman. And, 11,000 damage to the Sherman. Broke his one of his torp tubes, and I believe his steering gears. God, rest in pieces, Forrest Sherman. Yeah, Forrest Sherman, like I talked about in my review for her, she's quite a bulky destroyer, has lots of superstructure, sits pretty high up out the waterline. It's a very modern destroyer, so that's to be expected. And yeah, when skip bombers are a thing in game, that can happen to you. God, that poor man just got sent straight to the Shadow Realm. Alright, so what's very interesting right now is this group of 3 Tier 10 battleships, the Schlieffen, the Ohio, and the Montana. They have been running away from this lone Montana up in sea the entire time. And we know that's a lone Montana because the U-2501, the friendly U-2501, is behind the Montana right now, spotting, well, whatever's there, which is currently nothing. And we got 3 tier 10 battleships running away from the Montana. And they can easily turn around and completely blow this man, especially considering you have an Ohio and a Schlieffen together. Montana's not, I mean, it's a scary ship if it catches your broadside, but she's not exactly a destroyer of worlds. Definitely a ship that can take on three other tier 10 battleships. So gets his torpedoes out there, and look at that. Gets all 7 of them to hit. I think it was just shy of 20k there. Starts 2 floods with the Montana, so the Montana definitely has to damage con that. Now, the Montana does get the American damage con that runs for 22 seconds, but by the time these Nakhimov planes get there, he's probably going to be out of that. Nakhimov planes are slow, if you can't tell. They do get the rocket-assisted takeoff at the beginning of their launch, but that's it. Unfortunately, though, this island does get in MrMayhem's way, and as you can see, the arming distance is too long, so he can't do this run. So, I personally probably would have F'd out here, because, well, this would happen. He starts to lose planes. Granted, of course, F'ing out, you still lose the planes. So he decides just to grit his teeth, bear it all, and go for the run with 2 planes remaining. Drops the torpedoes. His friend from SCCC2, Crash Still, is currently farming the Montana from the bow in. And let's see his torpedoes. They do arm, carrying on their way to the target. Ooh, enemy Audacious hits the Ragnar hard. And, yep, gets 2 torpedoes, and damage is damage. So, end result is you did get damage in. I mean, made a pretty good effort to recover from that run there, and he did still do damage, so I would call that a success. Lines up the shot with the rocket planes again, and let's see what these do. And, oh my god, 19 rockets hit, 21k started a fire. Good god. Alright, so situation has kind of flipped for the friendly team. Any team is now down to their last 5 ships, 1 sub, 1 cruiser, 2 BBs, and the CV, well, the CV, the Audacious. Friendly team still only down 3 ships. So they have 9 of their ships still alive, and 1 AFK Yamato that's, well, just been sitting there, surprisingly still alive. Ooh, but the enemy Preußen takes out Kazna in his Balau, unfortunately. I don't know if you guys are looking at the minimap. Kazna was absolutely over there fighting for his life. I do believe he took out the enemy Balau and managed to live for a little while longer, distracting the enemy team, but unfortunately the Preußen did take him out. Hello, Petropavlovsk, that's still at full health. That is not a sight you want to see with 7 minutes left on the clock. That's barely enough time to actually kill a Petropavlovsk. Stupidly survivable cruiser there that is getting nerfed. It's getting raised up out the waterline by about 2 feet, which doesn't sound like too much, but oh, there goes that AFK Yamato though. The 2501 took her out. Doesn't sound like too much, but in this game, I'm pretty sure it'll be a significant change. It's effectively taking about 50% of the Petropavlovsk Citadel and putting it above the waterline. Drops torch on the Petropavlovsk again. Letting the reticle stay flared out. Again, I don't know if that's the replay messing up or if that's what he's actually doing. But works. Gets 5-6 torpedo hits on target. And the enemy 2501 has been spotted. Schlieffen is dropping its depth charges on it. And I do believe the Ragnar is launching. Yep, Ragnar is launching his rocket depth charges as well. Look at that go. And Mayhem does drop his torpedoes over the 2501. Does prevent from surfacing because, I mean, you don't want to eat those torps at all in a submarine, given how little health you have. And if he does surface, he will get vibe checked. But he keeps his head down, and looks like he escapes that smattering there. Enemy team's up to 900 points. 2 caps are still in the enemy team's possession. But the A cap is currently being contested by the Montana that's going in. And the Ohio gets into the B cap as well. So now we got 2 BBs in both caps. 2 fairly healthy BBs too. So now this is stalling the enemy team's points. But right now, all the enemy team needs to do to win is kill 1 battleship. And I believe the Ragnar would be enough for them to win. So it's not looking too good for the friendly team. Because all they have to do is kill 2 ships, the enemy team. So Mayhem's going out here, and looks like the enemy team is grouped up pretty hard. You have the Petro and the Yami sitting next to each other. Then I've the Petro and Yami. They don't really have the best AA, but once you get enough ships clumped up, the flak does become quite hard to manage. But Mayhem does a wonderful job of that. Gets through, gets his skip bombers off. There's some torpedoes from the enemy U-2501 who's over here still spotting the 11k with those skip bombers, and 2 fires set on the Yamato. But the enemy 251 is over here spotting the enemy team for the... spotting the friendly team for the enemy team. Is still getting his torp shots off. That's not exactly what you want to have on your side, especially this late into the game. 4 minutes left to turn this around. So what needs to happen here is they need to keep holding the caps and... shoot, I think they would need to sink just about every ship except for the CV in order to flip the points in their favor. Which, if they can keep this up, they can do. So, Mayhem's running up here on the Yamato. Yamato's bow in. And let's see what he does here. Alright, here he goes. Lets that reticle gets fully tight. This again, look how tight this reticle can get. Flares it out a little bit there toward the end. But I'm pretty sure that Yami is going to eat most of that. Now, Yami does have, of course, wonderful torpedo protection at 55% damage reduction. And he only manages to eat 2. I think the Yami slowed down and turned in. But he did get a flooding on him, which is good. I do believe the Yamato, yes, did look like he burned his damage con earlier. So that flooding is going to stick. 251 surfaces in the B cap. If you guys heard that, that was my Discord and not yours. The surface in the B cap. Schlieffen picks him up with a secondary kill right there. But unfortunately, the U-251 did take out the Ohio, so there for second, enemy team was very close to winning that there. But they managed to catch up the U-251. So now, enemy team's at 913 points, friendly teams at 646 with holding the A-cap. But look at this. Audacious level bombers coming in as Mayhem shaves more health off of the Yamato, and the Montana's in an absolutely terrible position for this. I mean, the guy's doing his best. He can't really do too much about that. But Audacious does take him out. Now the clock is... well, the points are moving again. Clock's been ticking. And the enemy team is up to 959 points. Mayhem goes for the second line drop here. Yep, on the Yamato. Drops those. All he has to do is just nick him. And he's dead. But unfortunately, this time, RNG says no. I'll give you a fire, though. But thankfully, the friendly Schlieffen goes in and takes out the Yamato. Alright, 910 points. Points are ticking yet again. So now they need to kill the Petro and the Preußen definitely to win this. So Mayhem's got his rocket bombers, well, rocket planes going in on the Petropavlovsk. And again, Petropavlovsk, incredibly tough ship. Let's see what happens here with all these rockets. And pretty good hit. 8K, 7 rockets hit, 4 non-pins, 2 fires on the Petropavlovsk. Definitely have the damage con that. Now what you're seeing here is the real strength of these Soviet CVs. With that rocket boost, look how fast he's able to get back on target despite having planes that are incredibly slow. So you can get that amazing amazing alpha potential back on target so fast with the Soviet CVs. Third line drops the Petropavlovsk right there. And will they get it? 2 hits for 4K. Takes about half of his remaining health off of the Petropavlovsk. They're going back after with the rocket planes. Friendly Ragnar is also still chewing into the Petropavlovsk, but unfortunately the Audacious takes out the Schlieffen with torpedoes. And the Ragnar finished off the Petropavlovsk. So all they need to do now is get that Ragnar to the cap, start contesting the cap, and kill this Preußen. So they got a 2-5-on-1, a Yamato, and a Nakhimov that's able to get within range of the Preußen. The Ragnar must cap the cap in order to stop the points gains. If they can kill this Preußen, 68,000 HP down in a minute 20, they will win this match. Let's see if they do. So Mayhem's coming in with his rocket planes. Excellent choice for the Preußen with the massive German superstructure. Nice and chunky superstructure. Use UHE spammers and CV players know this already. Gets the attack off, and very nice. Chunks it for 10k. Sets 2 fires on the Preußen. I do believe the Preußen already had to pop his damage counts. Those are 2 perma-fires, so that's good. He's up to 288,000 damage, by the way, at this point. And look at all the accolades we've got. Confederate, High Caliber, Shoulder to Shoulder, and Strike Team already. Preußen nice and burning away, just below 47,000 health now. U-251, unfortunately, looks like he whiffed his torpedoes. Oh, and with a Retuda out on top of that. Mayhem going in with a torpedo bomb, which if you can get a good torp run off on the Preußen, this will be game right here. Because he can chunk for 25 to 30-ish K. Preußen's got terrible torpedo protection. If that Yemi can chunk him too, they will have this. 15 seconds left on the clock. Torpedoes, arm. Make contact, 14. He just chunked it for 23k. 15,000 health still left on the Preußen. Yami gets a final shot out, but not in time for the clock to end. Very, very close game there, fellas. Very, very, very good game, too. I wish I had more games that were that close back to back. So if that 2501 got his torps on target, if that Yami managed to maybe aim for the superstructure at one shot, that would have been game for Mayhem's team. Unfortunately, I don't have the ending screen here as Mayhem didn't provide it. So Mayhem, if you're watching this, which I assume you will, sir, please let us know what those ending results were for you and your team. And also your commander build too, and module build too, if you don't mind that. But anyway, guys, just thought I'd share that match with you. Very close match, very interesting match. Again, seeing a CV played from a very good CV player's perspective. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. One way to 35,000 subs, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday and have a wonderful weekend if you don't hear from me again. I hope to catch you guys in the next one.